the truth. I'm laying down the law. And you are on a rhythm, and then they throw those curves at you that make you go, what the hell?
Yeah, I think somebody else would have quit a long time ago.
Right.
I think a lot of other people would have turned it into an emotional plea.
But don't you feel like if you quit or if I quit, this Republican Party is definitely going on to extinction?
It will.
Yeah.
If somebody doesn't let the people know that it's not a party of hate,
right?
That it's not a party,
and we stand behind the principles of the party, not so much. There's hatred on both sides. Don't get it twisted. Don't be dumb out there. They don't like you just because you're Democrats and you're a loser. You're a loser because you're supporting a socialized system that depends on the government to support you. We don't believe in government supporting us. We're individuals that support capitalism and make money.
Capitalism bailout.
Yeah, I mean that's the other side of the coin. You hit on,
that's on the Obama administration because he's president right now.
Because I have a lot of people that are liberals that say the same thing, but they say it from a different direction of that I'm being disloyal to my people, that I don't know who I am.
How are you being disloyal? How am I being disloyal to? How are we both being disloyal to our people?
So you've heard that one.
Absolutely.
Well. Yes.
You know.
My message.
I've got Twitter. The Twitters are really the ones that really kind of lay the law out really quick because they only got so many taglines that they can throw in at you.
So, I just try to stick to who I am.
Okay.
And my message is simple. If you believe in faith, family, and hard work, there's room for you, in my candidacy. If you're looking for the easy way out, if you're looking for a free ride, if you're looking for a handout, we're going to have a hard time finding something to agree on.
But they're seeing that they're being discriminated against by people like you who support this bill. If I walk down the street, I've done nothing wrong. There are people right now that they're not talking about, but in the state of California, they're sending them back. They're deporting them after they've been here 20 years. You've got college students that have been blessed to be able to benefit off the...
you guys, anchor babies are writing in. People are writing in the chat room saying that they're anchor babies.
Yeah.
So we have some second generation immigrant.
Well, you can
people.
be anchor babies all you want, but we're letting you know. I mean, this is a very serious issue.
I guess I'm an anchor baby.
Well, if you're not American and you don't have your paperwork put in order, you could easily be deported. You guys know I sell real estate, and if people in real estate, people are losing their homes. And I think that's one way they're tracking people. Is they're looking at people and they put on there, I'm not legal, I'm not a American citizen, but I own a home under a government program, an FHA or whatever. They're deporting you. People think it's funny until their friends are gone. And I've had people I know who've asked friends
when I
to
meet
send back.
those types of people, I let them know very clearly that I understand your dilemma. I empathize with you.
Okay.
But let's deal with the facts, number one. Number one, you made a mistake. It was a huge mistake.
And what was that mistake?
It was coming into the country illegally, or staying illegally.
As long as they have for the last 20, 30, whatever years.
Yes. You made a big mistake. Number two, you've been running on luck.
Amen.
And your luck is going to run out.
Right.
And it's not...
But did America make a mistake too? We as Americans have failed ourselves because we're not enforcing laws that should have been enforced a long time ago.
Well, that's where they were running on luck.
Right.
They took a chance. And
so America's wrong too, no? You have to admit America's wrong.
Both sides, there's been a lot of blame to go around on how come we've gotten into this situation where it's such a crisis now. But I think the thing about it is that, they need to realize that, they made a mistake. They, have been testing that law. They've been trying to, they've been getting lucky that it hasn't been enforced. And when it does, it's going to be like, letting, like when you put a Band-Aid around your finger and you take it off and all that blood comes rushing back out. It's been a Band-Aid that's been on there too tight, and now it's going to, when it does release, it's going to be painful.
Very much so. Political brother, what do you think about that?
Well, I think that, unfortunately, the problem with immigration is that it requires a comprehensive approach, and you can't get any kind of discussion, any kind of even relevant discussion amongst the powers that be. I watch the political community. Their failure to deal with this issue is obvious, and everybody's posturing. There are, like you said, there are legitimate concerns, but to me, you don't get that done on a statewide level. It just doesn't get done, and the fact that the states are attempting to do it really shows you the inadequacy of the federal government, which you really... Either way, it's got to be a federal policy about immigration, and you can't leave it up to Arizona to do something different.
But I disagree with that. If government is set up,
it's a national problem.
It is a national problem, but states are responsible for state.
For the borders.
They're right on the border. They're on their state line. How could you not say that?
I'm not
you
in
have
favor.
State, local, and federal, right? So you're telling me that state shouldn't do anything and let federal run everything?
The federal government
That's a social president trying to control the states.
No, the federal government is responsible for the borders, and I'm not saying that as a person who endorses.
But the states have a responsibility too. When the feds don't enforce the law that should be in place, if the feds aren't going to do their jobs, the states have the responsibility to step up and say, you know what, you're not going to do your job. We're going to do our job. And we're going to make things happen.
That's a matter. I mean, it's a matter of opinion. I don't agree.
It's not opinion. It's a fact. That's why this law got. That's why this law got put into place.
Okay.
Why did this law get put into place? Because the feds did not do their job, and they're not securing the borders. So how can that not be a fact?
Let me put something real to you, because this is part of the Dog and Pony Show. How many of these laws you think are going to get thrown out just on the basis that they're unconstitutional, that they're profiling? See, a lot of this. Watch what happens when it goes to the Supreme Court. Remember, we've had issues with racial profiling in this country. The Supreme Court is going to protect those rights over and above the other rights.
Let's be clear about this Arizona bill. It's not like a Jim Crow law from the 50s where somebody couldn't be on a certain side of the street at a certain time of day or in a certain neighborhood. And, we know what it was like in the South, where there was the white side of town and there was the black side of town. And there were so many travesties, so many terrible stories of somebody getting picked up because they were going to the grocery store right there near the edge of one side of town to the other, and these corrupt officers would pick somebody up.
And you think today is different? Like the sheriff today. That's different.
Take them over 3 counties over and tell them to walk home.
And what do you think they do today?
Not drop them off in their black community, but drop them off in 3 counties over. And there was a lot of that happened, in the 40s and 50s and 30s in the South.
That's why we should learn that we've learned our lesson.
In this case.
But that's not. Listen to what he's saying. He says it's not happening in this case.
They're not picked. They're not. Sheriff Joe Arapio, as much as he may want to, and I'm not saying he would, but Sheriff Joe would probably not pick me up wearing a white polo, and carrying my laptop and say, get in the truck, and then take me to the.
But you're willing to leave that up to him
and tell me to get out of the car.
But
and then
Al,
tell me, if you're really an American, you'll be able to get in.
You're willing to trust him. I'm not. I don't want to give him that right or anything near that right. See, what I'm saying is that those of you who mean well. You still have people out there who don't mean well.
I know, but that's not.
They specifically do not, and they all moved to Arizona.
This law does not dictate that he's allowed to do that. And some of the Jim Crow laws in the 50s did allow officers to do that. It specifically told them to take them back to a black neighborhood. It didn't say their neighborhood. It just told them to take them back to a black neighborhood. And
so you're saying, some people are trying to compare the Jim Crow law to this law, and you're saying it's totally different.
It's totally different. All it's doing is it's requiring police officers to do their job, to complete the due process of law.
Why do you have a problem with that?
Because we already have laws on the books that have been misused. Whenever you pass a new law, and a new law for a special situation, and then you try to imply to everybody that it's not racial, I don't go with you.
But this is
it's a new law directed specifically against Mexicans. Period. It's against...
This man is Mexican and you're not. No. He's telling you what
I understand that, but that's where he's coming from. What I'm saying is the law is designed to impact Mexicans.
This is the thing about
Mexicans. People from Mexico.
It's an illegal immigrant. Illegal immigrant.
From Mexico.
When it does
from any country.
No, from Mexico.
No, from any country.
You're not fooling anybody with that bullshit. Everybody knows about
coming into Mexico and they're acting like they're Mexican because they know it's easy to get into America.
Everybody and their mama knows this is about Mexicans. They're going to sit up there and try to act like it's not. You're lying.
I will agree with you that many times the immigration issue has turned into, for some people, into a let's find a reason to not, to pick on Mexicans. It really is. And it's a very small number of people, but they're very, very...
They all live in Arizona, and I'm not so small the number.
Because when